Chris Matthews had on a guy by the name of Guy Cecil. He's the executive director of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, and they talked about the upcoming elections. And for whatever reason, Chris Matthews was really agitated from the beginning.
Tell me what it's like to face the possibility that Christie could win really big tomorrow and possibly begin a resurgence of establishment republicanism. In other words, non-right-wing republicanism.
Well, I can tell you that in Senate races around the country, that just hasn't been the case. In fact,
well, talk about New Jersey. Don't change the subject. Talk
Sure.
about New Jersey. What will be the impact if you get a 65% or something win by Christie and he begins to look like the image of the Republican Party? Is that going to be important or not?
I think the impact is zero, because when you look at where a lot of races are happening beyond that,
wait a minute, stop right here. If you're just going to flack, Guy, you have no value to this show. You were telling me that a victory in a big headline-winning, headline-dominating a race in New Jersey doesn't matter? It just doesn't matter.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Okay, let's move on to the other guest. You have no value to this show if you're going to talk like that.
Look at
that
the
is
candidates
insane
that are
talk.
running
Let's
around.
talk about the victory of McAuliffe. No, let's talk about the victory of McAuliffe in Virginia. What is the significance of that race for the Democrats winning in Virginia next time?
Here's why I think that these races aren't
talk
going to
about the Virginia race.
Sure, I'll talk about either one. The reason
you haven't talked about either yet. Let's get going. Wasting my time with flackery. I don't want a Democratic flack who can't think beyond his job description.
If Chris Christie were the candidate that was running in any of these races, then they would have an impact on races around the country, but he's not. The people that are running on the Republican ticket are not Chris Christie. They are Tea Party conservatives.
Right.
In Senate primary, gubernatorial primary. The reason why it has no impact is because Mitch McConnell is not Chris Christie. Tom Cotton in Arkansas is not Chris Christie.
These are primary challengers, yeah. But what about the incumbents?
Sure.
Suppose they beat off these guys. Suppose they defeat the challengers. What's that tell you?
Well, but look, the fact of the matter is that in cases where supposed moderates or establishment Republicans won primaries, they went on to lose the general election because the Tea Party pushed them to the right. Senator Tommy Thompson is not being interviewed today. He was supposedly a moderate in Wisconsin. Why did he lose? He lost because he was against two Tea Party Republicans.
Well, let me just tell you. Let me just tell you the facts.
You know what he said?
I'm sorry, Guy. The facts don't know. John McCain defeated J.D. Hayworth from the right, and he won comfortably in the general. Orrin Hatch did the same thing in Utah. There are countless examples of people who've been center-right or even conservative who've knocked off right-wing challengers and gone on to win handily in those red states. Why do you keep saying stuff that isn't true?
That's because they ran against inferior Democrats, and they're not running against inferior Democrats this time. If you look at the case
so all your
you gave
candidates are strong Democratic candidates this time.
I think if you look at the top 10 Senate races around the country, there is no question that the Senate Democratic candidates are better.
If Thad Cochran withstands a primary challenge.
No, but I wouldn't count Mississippi as a competitive race this election cycle. I think we do have a chance to win in Kentucky. I think we do have a chance to win in Georgia, both places.
Let me go back to an earlier question of mine. What is the significance of a big victory, front-page victory Wednesday morning of Chris Christie?
I think if you're going to force me to give you one example, the only thing where it helps is that it might calm down New York donors who are worried that the Republican Party is moving too far to the right. And that's why you see Mitch McConnell and others trying to battle.
Why is Christie doing so well in the South Carolina polling right now?
I'm sorry?
Why is Chris Christie doing so well in the South Carolina primary polling right now?
Well, in part because we're a year and a half out from a presidential election.
Right. Keep going.
I'm pretty sure that I would guarantee today Chris Christie will not win the South Carolina Republican
why is he doing
primary.
well now? That's what we're talking about.
Because no one's paying attention to the presidential election.
Okay, let me go to Michelle Goldberg for some objective analysis here. I'm serious. This is really unfortunate you've come on the show to do this. This is what I want. I want thinking people on the show who give honest answers. And by the way, target the question with the answer. Don't ignore the question.
That was a horrible interview, man. It was just weird, right? Like, it was weird and annoying, and like he was being needlessly aggressive. Like, there was no reason to be aggressive. I'm all for grilling people, especially if they're not telling the truth. But from the very beginning, he was agitated. Look, I honestly think he's pissed about something in his private life, or he read an article or something from somebody who he respects that said, oh, Chris never goes after Democratic guests as hard as he goes after conservative guests, and he decided, well, I got to show them that they're wrong. Something's going on under the surface there, man, because that was a terrible job. Like, I was listening to Guy Cecil's answer. I don't think there was a single one that was like off base or evasive. I think he was very direct, and I love how Chris Matthews was, oh, you're flackery. Why is it flackery? Because he's not giving you the answer that you want to hear? The answer he gave was clear, and I actually agree with him. So Chris Matthews said, what do you think the effect is going to be of a Chris Christie victory on national politics? That's basically his question. And Guy Cecil said, I think it has zero effect. Now, Matthews didn't like that answer. He said, oh, what are you talking about? You're flacking for the Democrats. Flack. No, but dude, he's right. Chris Christie is one of the only Republicans in the country who even bothers to try to appear to be at least a little moderate, right? There's no other Republicans in the country like that. So he's right. If Chris Christie wins, you know what it speaks to? Nothing in national politics, because all the Republicans are still batshit crazy. It speaks to, okay, good for Chris Christie. And by the way, you can't even give Chris Christie praise for that because he comes from New Jersey, which is a liberal state. If he wasn't moderate, he would have no chance at all of getting elected. And by the way, Chris Christie's policies aren't actually moderate. He's incredibly right-wing. It's just that since he doesn't, want to ban abortion and kill gay people, people go, oh, well, he's moderate. Yeah, moderate by today's standards in the Republican Party. He's still massively right-wing and massively pro-establishment. But by the way, and that's the biggest point here, is that Chris Matthews, a lot of people don't know this, he's a pro-establishment, loves the status quo corporatist. This is a guy who, oh, I love Reagan. Reagan was fantastic. Really? He was horrible for the country. He started the war on the middle class, started the deregulation. Income inequality, you can largely thank Ronald Reagan for that. You can thank, the 2008 Great Recession. Thank the culture of deregulation that was ushered in by Ronald Reagan. But Chris Matthews loves Ronald Reagan. Chris Matthews loves these so-called moderate Republicans like Chris Christie. That's where his actual sympathies lie. So look, man, he was bad at his job there. Chris Matthews was just bad at his job there. That's not how you treat a guest. The guest was saying things that were true and made sense, but since Chris Matthews didn't like the answers, he was like, oh, yeah, you're wrong. Oh, you're getting me mad. Oh, let's move on to somebody. You're not allowed on this show. You're of no value here. And then also, final point, who doesn't love when Chris Matthews slipped in there? Yeah, they're going to beat off these guys here. Inadvertent sexual comments are the best.